All right. So we're live already. And yeah, of course, there isn't anyone seeing us right now because we now we're live. So let's talk about TuFace and Annie Idibia and the new woman. And then we'll also go on to talk about Yul Edochie and Judy Austin. And I'll quickly say that people are comparing the two and always they've been calling Judy Austin a homebreaker, and they've been saying that she destroyed another woman's marriage, and she thinks that she can have a man like Yul Edochie who left his wife. Why would she think that she can have a successful relationship with him? And that it's actually charms that she's using to hold on to him. And also, we know that in the past 2 days, we heard about Two Face's mom coming out to say that he her son has been trapped by this new woman, and that Nigerians should come and help them. So, what do you think about those two scenarios, the two cases?
Oh, well, it's sad for for two reasons. Maybe not the reasons that most people would think. The Annie and Two Face situation, I would say sad, and I'm only saying this with respect to Annie because Two Face always showed who he was from the very start. He was not unapologetic about the fact that he loved women, and he was more tended more towards being with multiple women in multiple relationships. Not only did he express that um, when he had the chance to, he also said it in his song. I like women, are they straightforward? That's one of his songs. He said it, so the world already knew that Two
Hmm.
Face preferred this way of life. Being in
I didn't even know that
multiple
was what
relationships
he said in that
with
song. I didn't
multi
know.
women. Oh yes, I like women. Are they
Just
straightforward?
give me a
Like
second. Sorry.
this is somebody who has always, you know, um, let people see what his preferences were, Annie inclusive from the very start. Two Face has three baby mamas and seven children from all three of them. Those are the baby mamas are the women we know that he's been in relationships with, probably several others. The point I'm making is Annie knew this man to be like this. But for some reason, which I do not understand, only her would know, she decided to stay on with him. In fact, at some point, when Two Face decided to officially walk down the aisle with her, officially make her his wife, um, her or her supporters threw shades at the other baby mamas that Annie finally won.
One.
Yeah, finally won. And then Two Face also said something at that time as to why he settled for Annie was because she was always there, for him, even when he was a nobody. The other
Mm.
people probably came into his life when he had started to his profile was already on the rise compared to Annie.
Hmm.
This says many different things. First, on the part of Annie, if you knew who this man was, this man showed the world who he was, his preference. And this is not me condemning his lifestyle. No, I'm just stating the fact that he always said what kind of man he was, which kind of lifestyle he preferred. He didn't just say that, he also went ahead to have children with multiple women. And you knew this and you stayed. Why she stayed, I really do not know. Only her can say. I thought that that was rather um, I mean, I can't judge another adult's choices. They
Hmm.
must have their reasons for doing whatever they did. But I felt at the time that even if Annie stayed, even if this is me just assuming that she stayed because she genuinely loved this man in
Hmm.
spite of his preference for um, open relationship with different women, and she thought that being with him would make him happy. I'm not sure that he felt the same way about her from the start, because it would appear that the only reason that he decided to walk down the aisle with her and not any of the other women was because she was with him while he was a nobody, not because
Not because he wanted
he
her.
truly, 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 truly wanted to be with her.
Hmm.
So if you start from how they started, first, his preference for this lifestyle, multiple women relationship, and the reasons either of them might have stayed with each other, it's not surprising, really, to me that this has happened. I only feel deeply for Annie in all of this, because whereas TuFace was already like this and wanted this kind of lifestyle, I didn't get the sense that she was ready to share, in quote, a man with everyone. I thought she felt that after he decided to marry her, um, then he would be a completely different person from who he professed to be to the world, and she would have him all to
To
herself.
herself.
And as we have seen, um, that hope or delusion has now blown up in her face. And so, in all of this, she's the one I really, really, really feel sad for, because I'm not sure that this was what she wanted
Expected.
from this relationship. Yes.
It's even the public that I feel I feel more uncomfortable about, because the person that took the decision that she did, actually, okay, let's just change this thing, because we know, or we knew, that we weren't coming here to talk about Two-Face and Annie directly. We're talking about a situation where somebody has created this type of life choice for themselves and the things that come out of it. Now, this has happened, and people are all out there talking about how bad Two-Face is, how wicked he is, and how they feel so sorry for Annie, why he would dump her like this, and all that and all that. I think that we as a society, we are creating this evil and pain for ourselves, because, like you said, I do feel very sorry for what Annie is going through now. But do you know that I am happy for her? I am happy for her because this should have happened many years ago. He should have been out of her life many years ago. Just as you said, he made it very clear that this wasn't the relationship that he wanted. It was the relationship that he chose, that he settled for, because he felt, again, it was out of, this is what is good for me, not necessarily because I like it. It's like, if somebody's going to
More
get
like,
married.
more like compensation for her
Yes,
for being
yes. Okay, so
with him.
she really wants
No.
me, and I know that I will be safe with her, because she would always take care of me, because she's always been interested in my welfare and all that, right?
Hmm.
And now it is time to get married. So, what I would like for us to consider as a society is, can more of us say, like, give Annie a back rub for the pain that she's going through and how she's going to navigate this, right? But not be silent on the fact that we shouldn't be supporting people taking those types of choices that are going to lead them. It's again like somebody, your child is on drugs, taking something that is
Hmm.
bad for them, and you're seeing it, and you want to be supportive of it. You can't say that, that is the right thing to do, because if we keep encouraging all the people who are out there saying Two-Face this Annie, oh, you shouldn't have treated her, you shouldn't have. What are they actually saying? Because on this thing, I will say that two people who are doing this are really still not loving.
Toxic. It
Nobody is
is a
loving the other.
toxic situation.
Nobody is
It
loving
is
the
a
other at
toxic
all.
situation.
Even the people
So,
who
like
think that
you said,
Annie loved him. Yeah.
no, I was going to say, like
Yeah.
you said you were in some way why you feel for her. You're happy that she's this has happened because then she can focus on herself.
Yes.
I was just supporting that by saying that if he only was with her because he felt that she had been with him and there was need to
Let me
compensate her
compensate her.
because it was the safer option and
Thank
all
you.
of that, then it's not really the right atmosphere for a blossoming, rounded relationship. So what they had was not one where both parties well, I can speak for TuFace. TuFace, I mean, I can only speak for him going by his antecedents, right? And
Mm.
what he has declared publicly because I don't know him, I don't live with them. But it would seem that he wasn't really interested in her to the point of making her his
His one
sole
and
woman.
only.
It would seem that
Yes.
he wanted like uh, open relationships with multiple women. So for her, she felt like, he was the prize. He didn't see her. I don't think he ever saw her as the prize, but she was the one who saw him as a prize. And she did this knowing his professed
Yes.
lifestyle, which is what is sad about this. I mean, I don't have a problem with people. I actually prefer people who are straightforward with who they are
I said
and
that
what their
once.
preference. I
Yeah.
prefer people like
Yeah.
this. I prefer people
Yeah.
who say, "This is who I
So
am.
you know where you
This is the
stand.
kind of lifestyle I adopt."
Yeah.
And then, if my lifestyle aligns with you and you decide to be with me, I don't have any issues. Really, I do not have any issues with adults who decide, as long as they're not hurting anyone, and they decide this is what they want to do, and they're both happy. All well and good for them. The problem is when the expectations are different. One party, uh, despite being married to you, does not consider you the trophy or the sole person. And you, on the other hand, you're going into the marriage thinking, oh, because I'm married to him, is now, um, mine
Let me
and
ask you a
mine alone,
difficult
which is
question.
an illusion. Yes.
Let me ask you what might be a difficult question for you to answer.
I will
I'm
try.
sorry to put you in a tight spot. Do
Let's
you
hear it.
do you think that Two Face did the right thing by ending this marriage?
I think so. I think while it may not be the
Popular
most
opinion.
popular opinion, while most Nigerians are used to long suffering in, especially in marriages, um, people do not like the idea of divorce, especially where Annie has had to fight other women for this man's affection. People expect that he should reward her or extend the same courtesy to her by staying in the
This
marriage,
is
even if it's
wickedness.
toxic and loveless. But I don't support that. I believe that they did not have business in the first place being together, given that they were not aligned in
I
terms
can
of their
now breathe.
lifestyles. Uh,
I can now
from
leave a sigh
from
of
the beginning,
relief.
given that they were not aligned from the beginning, I think this should have happened. You actually said that before. I think this should
Yeah.
have happened long before now. It's. I wish Annie was the one because she's the one who saw this as a win. I wish she was the one who opened their eyes and realized that being here wasn't the best thing for her. Not because
But,
he's a
but
bad person. No,
yeah, but
not
you know
because
what I
he's a
started
bad
to
person,
think?
but because this is not what she wanted. She wants a monogamous relationship with her man. But he declared that he wants to be in multiple relationships with different women. So it's like forcing him
Do you feel bad
to
for
be
him?
who he's not. I do not feel bad for him in
You don't feel
any
bad for him.
way.
I feel
I
bad
do
for
not feel
him.
bad for him in any way. The reason why I don't feel bad for him again is I started by saying this man always told us who he was. Who are we to want him to be somebody different? This he said this is who he always wanted to be. And then at the time he was settling with her, at least from the vibes that I got, it didn't seem like this was a decision he reached because
But
she
isn't
was
it
the one
us? Isn't it us as a
who sold.
society?
Sorry.
Isn't it us as a society? That's why I'm talking about feeling bad for him. Isn't it us as a society who teach people? Even Annie herself is a victim of the society. And TuFace as well, I think, because we are the
Yes,
ones, even now that the marriage has broken up, people are castigating him for doing something that he should have done a long time ago, knowing that this is not the woman for me, right? Now they're still coming back to,
exactly.
to try to slaughter him. So it is us as a society teaching people to do what they shouldn't do. Because everybody would have been
No,
happy and quiet if he continued to abide quietly in that marriage.
long suffering toxic relationship
Where
that is
I
not
mean,
good for both of them.
it's
This is what people
self-hate.
would have loved, but I unfortunately do not subscribe to people
Yes.
staying in loveless marriages that they do not want to be in. I do not subscribe to that because nobody deserves to live like that. I mean, again, like I said, if Annie was subscribed to his kind of lifestyle from the start, not I don't have a problem with people who are polygamous as long as their partners know from the word go and are aligned and want to be there. But I think while TuFace was always open about his preferences, Annie always wanted that monogamous relationship with him,
She
which,
continued to fight
which is the
him.
problem, which is the problem. And so they were never like a good fit. And I don't see how that relationship would have been fulfilling for either party because from the word go, they just
No
weren't
way.
meant to be
No
together.
way.
It's sad
No way.
that it's happened, and it's Annie who seems to be at the receiving end. But I think, like you said, this is actually a blessing in disguise for her
It is a gift
because
for
now
her.
she can
It's
actually
a gift for her.
it will be hard, but she can all that love that she was trying to give to another person, she can give all that love to herself and realize that she does not need the validation of this man or any other person to be whole. Yeah, so in some way I actually believe it is a gift for her. I also do not feel bad for Two-Face because as a human, he also deserves the kind of love that he wants that makes him happy. And uh, if
No,
he finds
when I say
this,
feeling bad for
yes.
him,
Oh yeah, okay, now I
when I say
understand
feeling
what you
bad for him,
mean. So,
I'm
with
talking
regards
about
to
all these years.
the avalanche of attacks and insults that he's had, yes, in that regard.
And even all the no, even the choice of marrying her in the
Oh
first
yes,
place. I feel that people do these things because society will look at me and say, why would I? That's why people will date people for years. The reason sometimes that they don't want to marry that person and they're dragging their feet, they don't want it, but then they think everybody's going to say,
uh,
I
person,
abandoned him or
yeah,
I
she was
abandoned
there
her.
for me when I
And
was a
then they go
nobody
ahead.
and all of that. Yeah, also see,
And then you marry the person and keep them miserable in a
miserable,
marriage.
miserable, miserable. It's very, very sad.
Yes. And even you're miserable.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's very, very sad because again, in another conversation where we're having, I was saying that marriages, should be conscious decisions that people make after they have discovered who they are, what they want, and the kind of partner that they think would be a co traveler with them, an ideal co traveler with them on the journey of life. Unfortunately, most people do not do this necessary work before they start these relationships. And I think that is what is playing out in the case of this particular couple. But again, um, society is the one that puts this pressure really on us because they force you to conform to a particular expectation. You know, I have been with this person has been with me, this person has not wronged me. Even if this person doesn't align with my ideal or my values, the way I see life, even if I don't 100% see myself with this person in the long run. We're forced by our families, we're forced by society, and then we make these decisions that come back to bite us and make our lives and the lives of the
Even
people we
more
choose to be with
complicated.
miserable, miserable.
Complicated.
Um, but at the end of the day, like you said, I think that this is a blessing for both of them. For Annie, she can now focus on herself and showering all that love on herself and being, the best person that she can be. And then TuFace, who also, in my opinion, has been caged in a marriage that he never wanted to be in the first place, can also go on to find happiness. Who
Just
says he
yes,
cannot find happiness with some other person?
yes.
I think every individual is
Some other person
deserving
or
of
people.
a
Mm-hmm.
shot at happiness
Yeah,
wherever they can find that. And it's never too late
honestly.
for people.
I don't know
Yes.
why we're so desperate to make prisoners of everybody. We're so desperate for that. And we'll be living in our own prison and be happy for other people.
Exactly.
Everybody just be in your own cell. Let us all just be inside ourselves.
Exactly. I,
Look,
I mean, plenty of the people who are angry with Two Face now, males, of course, more of the females. Um, some of them, even the ones who are married, some of them probably have partners outside of their marriages. So, in terms of morality, it's not like they are any better than Two Face, you know. But
but wait,
yes,
maybe we're missing something. Maybe we're
yes.
missing something. Maybe what they subscribe to is staying, keep that marriage, and then do whatever you want outside. Because
Why?
he's been doing it all these years. Why are they now having a problem with him deciding to leave the marriage? Do you understand? Maybe we are wrong, we're saying it wrongly. Maybe what they agree with is let's just maintain that marriage. Don't tell us anything. Maintain it and
Oh,
then do whatever you
but
want.
why do you want to stay married to someone who does not make you happy? Why do
Because
you
you can
want
still maintain the marriage and do whatever you want outside.
Yeah, but
Maybe
are
that
you
is
happy? Is Annie happy in that situation? Is that what you wish her? If your sister were in that situation,
if your child,
with
say
your
if their
child,
child,
would you just want them to stay to answer Mrs. and stay miserable? No, I personally would not want that for my sisters or my daughter. I would ask them, to take a walk if this marriage is toxic for them,
so
as
now
we can see that it has been for Annie. People are only getting to talk about it now, but I have
these people
watched
are wicked.
I have
These
watched
people are
Annie
wicked.
for some
Yeah.
time, and if you look at her, um, I mean, people can say we're only getting to talk about it because of Two Face coming out and all of that, but it's really not the case. If you've seen her in social settings, you would see that she has been a shadow of the Annie that a lot of us knew um, many years back. You would see that she's probably been dealing with a lot. And so I
Mhm.
wouldn't wish her to continue to be in that
These
situation
people are
where
wicked.
if you have a sister
They're just
or
paying lip
daughter.
service. They're paying
Yes.
lip service to wanting what is good for her, wanting her to stay in a place where I'm sure she doesn't even sleep well at night. I'm sure she hasn't been sleeping well at night.
Look
Always worrying
at her, and you
about
would
holding
know
on
that
to this man.
she's always had to fight to keep
Yeah.
this
What
man,
kind of
the man
life is
that
that?
does not want to be kept. She's always have to fight for him, and I don't think anyone deserves to live that way. And so those expecting her to expected him to continue to stay in a relationship that
To
he's
continue to
not
punish
happy
her.
and she's not happy. I don't think that they really have their best interest at heart. I mean, the Annie that they claim to love, I personally think is better off, without this man for whom she has had to go through, have her name dragged through the mud, has had to fight a lot of other women, constantly looking through her, looking behind her back, all of this many years. And I don't think there's any point that is too late for people to retrace their steps and begin to show themselves love that they failed to give themselves all along. I don't think it's too late. So, like you said, I agree that this, as sad as this is for her, because to consider being with TuFace a trophy, and even if she did,
Connection. I can't hear you. Let me see if I can hear you on maybe my own connection.
okay, I can hear you now. I can hear you now. Yes.
You're back. Yes, you're back. So anyway, I think that our society. So is it? When are we going to start thinking? Really, like if you're going to say something, let us not say things that look good on the surface. But what is it? What is the resultant effect of that thing that you're saying or supporting in the life of the person that you're claiming that you support? That's really where it should go, right? So yeah, I don't know if we're drinking some type of water or something that is making us reason like this. We actively promote pain in the lives of people that we claim that we care about. And you know the thing? People do this even to their own children.
Mm,
People do this even to
mm,
themselves. Even she herself making that choice till tomorrow. But if
exactly.
we, knowing that now that we've seen this happen, everybody should take note of the fact that you're standing by someone and you really, really, really care and all that, or you were there when they had nothing, does not mean that the person, because they can only do it for so long. Just as you said, at some point in your life, you say to yourself, I need to give myself that love that I
Mm.
never give myself, you know? And that's what Two Face has
He
done now.
deserves it.
I need to, because
He deserves it. Just like
he has
she
checked.
deserves it as
He
well.
deserves
Yes.
it. And she deserves
Yes.
it. Yes. And he's so, in fact, I applaud him. The only thing is, I don't know why he even did it. Did he do it so that he can marry this other
That,
lady?
that's
Right?
that's
Because,
that's another discussion. And I don't want to.
but that's also part
Yes.
of the freedom that he needs.
I want to say I don't
Right?
want it to detract from what we're talking about. People should be
Mm.
bold. People should be bold to follow the path that brings them the most happiness, even if it is not like the most popular, because every human deserves a shot at happiness. It may seem unfair to the other partner. In this case,
It's not unfair at
I mean,
all.
to people, it
It's
may
not
seem
unfair.
that way, but in the long run,
Mm.
it is better to be out of a loveless marriage and have the time to focus on yourself and your highest good than to continually beg another person to stay in a marriage that they do not want to be in. It's miserable for both parties, and no one deserves to live that way. The point of responsibility is also important. All of the blame, that like the people throwing blames and insulting TuFace, all of that can't go to TuFace alone because Annie is an adult. Annie is an adult, and our choices also come with consequences. Again, if TuFace hadn't shown us, told the world who he was, what his preferences were, this would have been, looked at
Mm.
differently. But
Mm.
this man was
Yes.
always like this. This lifestyle is the
Yeah.
lifestyle he preferred. And that is the mistake I think a lot of women make, because you see things in men that
Yes.
you think, oh, these things I do not like. But you think that once I eventually succeed in getting married to this person, I will change him. And
Yes.
then your whole
Yes.
marriage, your whole life becomes trying to retrain or make a grown adult to be something that
Yeah.
he is not.
You're
And
trying
it
to
is
recreate
not,
another a human being.
it is not a way to
You're
live.
trying
So
to recreate a
this,
human being where you are not
there's
God.
a lesson here for many young women, to take from Annie. And the lesson is that you can't expect someone that has shown you his character, someone that has shown you his preference. Again, when I say his character, I'm not saying it in the sense that I'm condemning his choices, if he chooses to be polygamous or
Mm-hmm.
with multiple women. My take is, if you're this way, make it known to your partner or your potential partner, and if they are aligned and are fine with it, then I have absolutely no problem. My problem is when you know you're this way, and then you hide it from the person, you
You
deceive
deceive.
them, and then you get them into a relationship, and then you turn out to be, the opposite of what you presented to them. That I would, frown at. But TuFace didn't do that. TuFace showed who he was. But whether due pressure from her, from family, from society, he eventually succumbed and said, even though I am like this, for the world to make them happy, or to make
Yes.
this woman happy because she has been there, I will crown her with marriage. Not because this
Yes.
is what he really, really wanted, not because this is where his heart lied, not because this is where his happiness lied. And that is why this whole situation um, is sad for me, because the signs were already there from the very beginning. Annie ignored them.
Could have been
Annie
avoided.
ignored them and decided to go on with him, thinking that he will probably change and then become, faithful to her. And they say, what's that saying about something not changing its stripes? There's some saying about, is it a
Leopard.
leopard or
See, he
something?
could. He can't even help.
Exactly, not changing his
Yes.
stripes. And again, I'm saying this not because I'm condemning him. No, I'm not condemning his choices. I'm only saying that you can't expect to go into a relationship with a grown human being and expect that they would change inside of that marriage, which is a mistake that many young people that go into marriages make. And I hope that they can learn from this situation.
The last time that I talked about it, I actually said it's very selfish of us. What we call love is oftentimes very selfish, because let me even take it to an angle that Nigerians don't like to talk about. I'm going to go deep. When you meet a human being, the reason why you're drawn to them is for whatever it is, as we said before, the attitudes they have to something, this, that, maybe physical appearance as well, which is also
Very important.
important. And finally and ultimately, you want to get into a physical relationship with that person because because of the way you feel about that person, that makes you feel a high, right? How selfish would it be of me to now decide that I want to enjoy all that high, that dopamine feeling? I want to enjoy it from you. And I don't care that you're not going to enjoy it from me. I just want to trap you and hold on
Hmm.
to you. So it is not
No,
love. And people will say it is the person loved the person too much, the person loved the person too much. It was
it
not
was
love. It was anything.
not love.
It can be so many other things, but
Hmm.
love is not what it is. Because love, as we said before, is you wanting what will make that person happy.
Exactly.
You wanting what will make them
Exactly.
happy.
Exactly.
And the moment that you are wanting to trap them to give you what you want without even ever thinking, how will this lady or this man feel being in this relationship? Will they feel fulfilled? And you don't think about that and you don't care. Apparently, obviously, you do not love that
True.
person because you don't care that they will not get to experience. Look, food, water, air, sex. there's nothing you want to tell me, right? Let me add love, right? Those are things that are
The essential,
essential
yes,
for the
for
average
man,
normal
yes.
person. Average normal person. Then you think that you can consider your own happiness and ignore that other person's own. At the most, they will stay there with you while they seek those things
Outside.
outside.
Mhm.
And yet you still will not be happy because you will begin to say that they don't love you.
Mhm. It is
Isn't
so,
it?
though.
You begin to say they don't love you. So if they don't love you, have you ever heard the saying, if you love something, you let it go? You let it go because you want it to have the freedom and joy that it requires and
Mhm.
needs. You are not providing that environment. So that is not love, you know. And all these wicked people, what they are doing is that they're sowing more into Annie's consciousness that she's been wrong and hard done by TuFace. And it's not true. It's simply not
Mhm.
true. She doesn't even need to stop feeling whatever she feels for him. You can love the person and know that I can love
From afar.
you, but I don't have to
You can
please
love
you.
somebody from
I
afar.
don't have to seize you
Hmm.
and cage you.
Yes.
Right.
So
Yeah.
another issue that I must point out, which is like a recurring issue, really, is people choosing, taking the time first and foremost to find themselves, who they really, really, really are, what makes them tick, what their values are, what their non-negotiables are, so that when they're going into a relationship, they have that like before them, and in choosing a partner, they're looking for somebody who is aligned, across different spheres, not just physical. Yes, the physical is, of course,
Hmm.
very, very important. Man, woman, we're all very physical beings. Physical attraction is important also in keeping any kind of relationship, marriage, partnership, keeping the flames
Mm.
alive. It is very, very important, right? But there are also other aspects as well.
Mm.
There are worldviews. What are our worldviews? Are our worldviews aligned? What is our disposition to relationships? Am I in favor?
Hold on, Tony. Hold on,
Yes.
Tony. You are a mind reader, aren't you?
No.
You are a mind reader. Be honest. You have a trick with which you read minds, right? Because you just
maybe,
went
maybe
into
as
my
an
mind.
Edo man, there's a jazz and I can see to whatever you have
Egbele, they call it Egbele Kokomio, I think. Egbele Kokomio.
there. Yes. Because
Oh
these things
boy.
are very, very important, right? We need to understand all of these things, the physical, the worldviews. Are we aligned on our worldview, our disposition to relationships? Am I more for monogamous relationships, or am I open to polygamy, as it were? I'm not going to view this topic from the religious lens, because there are different forms of relationships, and monogamy is just one of them. Polygamy has been a way of life in the African culture for very many years, and even in the Western world. I'm sure you've seen some TV series, Sister Wives and the likes. Now, some people are beginning to adopt that as a
Mm.
way of life as well. So I really do not have anything against this different kinds of relationships that are out there. But the point is, in finding out who you are and the things that are important to you, are you also checking in the potential suitors if they are aligned in the things that are really very important
No, no, what they want
for
doesn't
you? You
matter.
know,
What they want doesn't
because it's
matter.
important that you are aligned. If you're aligned, then that is the only grounds on which you should then go. I imagine that Annie, like I said before, was expecting that once she succeeds in getting this man to marry her, then she would change him to be, somebody other than the person that he always professed to the world to be, which again is a mistake that very many young people make. So it's important. Discover early, who yourself, find yourself first, know what your deal breakers, non-negotiables are before you enter into any kind of, committed relationships with anybody, and ensure that the people you're entering into these relationships with are aligned with you on as many of the fronts that you have identified as possible. Because if you don't do this work, you are setting yourself up for premium tiers um,
And
along the way.
that's what we do
Yes.
generally. That's what we do generally. We just want to hang it on hope and
Mhm,
prayers, and they will get on their knees and be
mhm.
praying. And I say that God doesn't even answer those types of prayers, because you can't walk into the lion's den knowing that the lion has the capacity to jump on you and eat
Exactly.
you up, and then you go and start praying.
Exactly.
Because you have enough knowledge about what you're seeing before you. You're seeing that this is a dangerous place, and you're still choosing to go
Mm,
into that. So for I don't remember what I was going to say. Okay, I want you to compare. I don't remember what I was going to say, but I'll just go on to Yul Edochie and
mm.
Judy Austin, right? Because what happened in that case was, okay, I was going to say that one episode that we had was people being forced into marriage because someone got pregnant. And someone said in the comments that day that it happened to him. He didn't want to marry that lady that he was dating at that time, but she got pregnant and the families insisted. He said he married her, and for the whole of, I think, 16 or 18 years, that they just kept on patching unhappily in the marriage. And eventually he had to beg her that, oh girl, I cannot continue this thing, you know, because he wasn't being the man that he knew he was capable of being to a woman that he would really cherish, right? And he saw that she was always stretching and stressing herself, and he knew that this
It's
thing is
not
not for me.
fair on
You
both
know,
parties. It's not fair.
it's not fair on both parties. Both people are
Mm.
suffering. Even the one who wants to keep that person is suffering because they cannot get what they want from that person. So give it up.
Yes.
And you know the funny thing? You can give up that thing. The person goes, has that freedom, and realizes, actually, as you keep saying, you don't know yourself, and realizes, I prefer what I was getting over there. This is what I want. Now I've had my fill of this, and this is nonsense. I don't want it. You know, if a person comes to you on their own, they made that choice. There's something about choice. It's like even with our children, like you say, when we force our children with certain things, right? I say we can try to, if it's something that's good for them, there's a way you can try to talk to the person so that you plant that seed. But when you are the one, you coerce them into it. When they get there, they'll be thinking, I didn't choose this. Mommy is the one who made me. Daddy is the one who made me. And then they will,
Yeah.
naturally as human beings, this is what we do. Because you didn't make the choice
Hmm.
by yourself, right? But when I make a choice by myself,
As part of my philosophy, I would rather be a doubting Thomas than be a Peter. I mean, this is talking about scripturally now. Thomas said, "Until I put my hands in the holes on his palms and the sides, I would not believe." You know, the thing about people like that is when they eventually come to that point of understanding, of belief, it will take, it will be hard to knock them off their stride because
it's like a cultist becoming
they
a born
came
again
there
Christian,
on their own. They weren't coerced, they weren't forced, they
convinced.
were convinced. So I would rather take my time to attain a level of knowledge, of consciousness, than to rush into anything. It is those things that you enter with your two eyes open, enter convincingly. Those are the things you
That you're willing to
invest in.
fight for.
Those are the things that you are passionate about. Those are the things that you work on. Those are the things you fight for. I don't even like to use the word fight because fight would seem like struggle, but I mean it in the sense that they are the things that you give yourself for. So when somebody is forcing you to make a decision, or a situation is forcing you to make a decision about a partner, a situation like pregnancy is forcing you to decide to settle with the person, not because you truly, truly have searched and found that this person, this is the person I love, this is the person I want to be with. It's only a matter of time before that child, that is the reason that both of you are together in the first place, will not be enough to keep you there. And I think that's what happened to your friend, because after many years, he realized that he had only been unfair to himself and by extension to his partner, because he never really loved her enough to want to be with her in a marriage kind of relationship. Don't forget, we have different levels of relationship. Sometimes we are ready to be physical and just, have a sexual thing with somebody. That's a separate thing, right? Because somebody can ask, why are you, getting involved with somebody that you are not ready to marry? Humans
If you know
can
that
be,
you're not going to.
if you're not going
Yes.
to marry married person. I'm just trying to say that you can have like a
Yes.
physical attraction that can lead you to do things with people, but it doesn't necessarily mean you have reached the stage where you can comfortably say, beyond the physical, this is XYZ reasons why I think this person is that person, or I know this person is that person for me. So again, when we're talking about loving relationships, it should be across realms. The physical is just one part of it. If you've not reached the stage where you can confidently say,
You've
you know
started
what,
reading my mind
this
again.
person, this person physically, spiritually, emotionally, and in any ways that you can think of aligns with the vision of a partner that I have for myself and the kind of future that I envision for myself. If you haven't reached that stage across these different levels, then there is no point going ahead into a relationship with that person. That's a work that we should do before we start to talk about marriage. It's a very important work that we have to do.
I was going to say something, Tony, and I'm glad that the things that you've mentioned, because I am a spiritual person, right? I have this belief that everybody has an assignment in life. Everybody has a path. Okay, let me say everybody has a path in life. And when you are put on this earth, you may not know, but things work in a way that eventually lead you to your path, and that path is taking you to a destination. There is a goal and there is a vision, and you know that if I'm going to the desert now, I will not want to go with you, even though I know that you can keep me warm and you can protect me. I won't want to go with you because this desert that we're going into, when we get thirsty, if you didn't want to be there with me and I only took you because I wanted those things that I could get from you, when we see the oasis, you are going to rush there and drink up all the water, and I'll be left to hang dry, right? So
Mhm,
you cannot undertake a journey, a relationship of, especially these relationships we're talking about, they are like going on a journey. You have to go with someone who is going to have your back, because, or
mhm,
going on a ship and the pirates are attacking. You are going to sell me when they come. You will sell me for whatever you can get. You're going to sell me for whatever comes that is more valuable to you. So I only want to go on this journey. I only want to embark on it with someone who I can turn my back and know that I'll be safe, right? So on this path, when you've been put on
exactly.
this earth and you're going towards your destination, the person that you take to join you on that journey, we need to stop forcing it, because you will just get the wrong companion. They will
And
derail
you'll be
you.
derailed.
Yeah,
Exactly.
they will derail you. You are a mind reader. I've told you. They will derail you. And I'm not just trying to talk like, okay, let me just say some nice things, or save you from putting yourself in heartbreak. This is this is about life now, right? They
It
derail
is.
you.
It is.
They delay your getting to your destination, and you might even die in the process. But you have
True.
something that you're supposed to fulfill on this earth. And that's again why you now say, when you say you need to know yourself, it's part of it. Because
It
people
is
have
very
found,
important.
and that's why some people get to a point where they're like, no, this is not for me, because I now understand that this is not leading me towards that place where I'm supposed to be
Yeah, that
going.
that thing that I'm supposed to be doing, that
Yeah.
life that I'm supposed to be living, that's supposed to be meaningful and impactful, and that's supposed to make me happy. So if
Yes.
and the thing is, it's never too late. There's never no what Two-Face decided to do. As much as for a lot of people it seems crazy and unfair, but I think for both of them, for
They
their
need it.
life's course,
Mm-hmm.
this had to happen at this point, and it is never too late.
It's
It's
never
never
too
too late for Annie to start to pour all that love that she was trying to give another person on herself and live her best life. It's never too late. It's never
She
too
will
late to
learn
start.
self-love. These
Yes. And
things,
it's
she will
like
learn
even set
self-love.
her, like what you were talking about, on the path that she was always supposed to be, which would lead her to a deeper level of happiness and fulfillment that she has been in. I don't know how long she has been in this relationship with Two-Face. And for Two-Face himself, he's also deserving of happiness. Whatever path he has chosen, I don't know. But he also deserves a shot at being happy, because it is better for two people to go their
Yes.
separate ways than to be forced, whether due to pressure from their partners or pressure from family or pressure from the society, to stay together and remain in a marriage that is not only loveless but also toxic for both of them. Because when the toxicity reaches a level, it starts to leak into other aspects, like the
Other
children,
aspects, the
like their
children.
work, like their finances. I don't think Annie has been the best in terms of her. She's an actor. I don't think she has been the best since she has been, fighting to
No,
keep a
because
man.
you're busy, you are
What's the
distracted
best?
from your life's
Yes,
course.
because she's distracted from the things that she
Yeah,
should be doing, right?
yeah.
And a loving relationship is supposed to bring out the best in
The
you,
best
make you
in
the
you.
best as
Yeah.
an individual, and then as a couple. That's what a loving relationship is supposed to do. And so when you're in a relationship that's not doing that to you, I think if somebody has the guts and the confidence, whether for what you call selfish reasons,
Mm-hmm.
to call it off, I think
I applaud
it's
it.
a blessing. It's a blessing
I applaud
in
it.
disguise for the
For
other party
both.
that feels like they have been done wrong, because now you can focus all that love on yourself, and that thing you were saying about your god-given mission in life, you can now get on that path and do that thing that will make you really, really, really happy
Yeah.
and fulfilled. And both parties, actually, like I said, deserve a shot at finding their course again towards that path that brings them the best, the
Takes
highest
them where they
fulfillment.
should be. Takes them where they should
Exactly.
be. Life will begin now.
Exactly.
Life will
Yes.
actually begin now, because many
Mm.
times the things that even take us to our destination, where we're supposed to be going,
Yes.
something will happen to throw that into our path, where all of a
Hmm.
sudden we'll have a light bulb moment, and
Mm.
it opens up our consciousness. It opens up another portal in us. Like, we suddenly
Yes.
realize, okay, I have something that I am supposed to deliver in this world, and it's birthed out of these types of things. If
Hmm.
only these evil people will stop saying all these things into her ears, making her feel that she needs to stay there and be sad and cry, right? This is the time that you can now see that after everything I've done, I never still got that. So once that happens, you will recognize that I need to know that I cannot be seeking validation. And once you get to that point, you become a human being. You become
Yes.
the
Also,
real human being that's supposed
you,
to be.
you were saying before, um, I think the point I was going to make is something about. Okay, I'll come back. I forgot that point, but
I'm
I'll come back.
sorry.
I'll come back to it when I remember. I'll come back to it when I remember. Yes, but yes, it's important to not to allow ourselves to be pressured to do things just because it is what the idea that other people have of how marriage or how relationships should be. We should think of ourselves and what gives us the highest fulfillment. Even his mom, I haven't seen, but I have been reading about the mom coming out to say, for me it's still another way that society, family tries to
They don't know better.
control control outcomes, right?
Mm.
Tries to keep you in a situation that is not serving you, right? That outcry, oh, he's not, we are looking for him, he's been jazzed, and all of that. Those are still ways that when things don't go the way we in
Plan,
our head, the way we want them to be, that we want things to fit into a certain like box
narrative.
and control people's lives. That's when we cry like that.
Mm.
TuFace is a grown man, is an adult for crying out loud, right? So if he's making decisions, even if those decisions come back to bite him,
Mm-hmm.
is an adult.
Was
Part of
waiting.
being an adult is making decisions and
Mm.
also living with those decisions.
Mm.
Again, Annie is also not a victim per se in all of this. Like we started during the discussion, um, she knew who this guy was before she decided, you know what, despite everything he said about himself and his preferences and lifestyle, I want to be with him. She doesn't need, in quotes, to be, we don't need to continue to let her stay in that victim frame of mind. What
Mm.
we should be telling her or encouraging her to do that right now is to focus on herself and getting back on track and pouring all that love that she was trying so desperately to give somebody that wasn't
People in
receiving,
a vessel that couldn't receive.
that couldn't receive it. She
Mm.
should put that love back on herself. That's what we should be telling her because she made the choice to be with him. But luckily, she's now set free in a way. Let us not force her to go back to a place that is distracting her from her God given assignment, from that place that she's supposed to be, that will bring her to the highest fulfillment. We should instead be encouraging her to focus on herself
Mm.
and getting back on track and being the best that she
Yeah.
can be.
And he didn't
um
do her any wrong. In fact, okay, if he did her a wrong, maybe the wrong that I would say that he did her was or is that I hear that she's in rehab, right? Is carrying on publicly with showing how I am so happy with someone else to move on with someone else while this person is in pain. That's the only thing that I would say. Oh no, 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 no. That just doesn't make sense.
yes,
Your
there's
relationship has broken
timing.
up.
Yes,
Yeah,
there is
timing is
timing
everything and
for
common sense.
everything, right?
Yes.
Two-Face deserves his shot at happiness, like I said before, but
Mm.
then some things require discretion.
Mhm.
Going public at this time
Mhm.
with a new relationship when you've just
Mhm.
announced your
It's like
split
shredding her
from
heart
an
to
old
bits.
is
This
not
is
the
where I will now.
kindest thing.
Yeah. No,
It's
it's
not the
that's quite mean.
kindest thing to do
Yeah. No.
to another human. The
Yeah.
other fault, apart from this, is, and this is a lesson to everyone, is deciding out of sympathy or pressure to be in a marriage you didn't want to be in the
Mm.
first place. It's not
Mm.
fair to that person.
You know
It's
what?
not fair.
You know what?
Pity love. pity marriage. It's not fair to the person, and it's also not good to you.
You know what?
I think that's what happened in the case of Two-Face and Annie, because he pitied her because she had been with him, and he just felt, you know what, she has suffered enough. All of these other women, they were not there when I started. She's the only one, so let me just stay with. Not because his heart was there, not because he was convinced, he was ever convinced at any point that this was the woman he was supposed to achieve his life's goals with. No.
I'm always okay, Mike. I'm always concerned when we talk about people that the public knows like this. So what we will do is, would you believe it if I told you that I have more than, I can't even count how many messages that I have about people talking about this in their own lives, right? And all those relationships, a lot of them have ended, had to end, and are still in the process of ending and are going to end. So I think we should talk about those without talking about Two-Face and Annie or anybody, so that people
Okay.
can actually get the message. Because
Mm-hmm.
people will keep on looking at them and keep on using, but when they know that this is a real life thing, it's not about he's a polygamous man. He's not about he has baby mamas everywhere, or that he's a musician or anything. It's not anything about that. It's not
No,
that.
it's not.
It's
It's
happening
not.
with regular people. Yeah. So I will say, actually,
Yeah. So
I'll send you some of those things so you can just take a look at.
okay, okay. So what? What?
Is the audio bad?
This is not
Okay.
really. No, my audio is great. This is not really about, again, like you just re-echoing what you said. It's not just about Two Face and Annie. It's it's a lesson in, what relationships should be like, and what people should, look out for when entering into any kind of relationships. It's a lesson for everyone. I can't say it enough, the importance of doing that work of finding yourself first. That's very, very important. A
It's
lot
not
of us
even just
rush into
romantic
this.
relationships,
Yes, all kinds of relationships, really. A
all
lot
kinds
of
of
us just
relationships, all kinds of
rush into
relationships.
relation without doing our, just at least know what you want, know what the important things are for
You are
you. Do
human.
that
You are
work.
human. You're not a robot. You're not a
Do that
robot
work
going by
first,
the
right?
society. Yeah.
Yes. And then know that the choices that you make have consequences. If you choose to be with the wrong person, it can derail your course in terms of your, like, your purpose,
Purpose
in
in
life,
life.
and the path
Yes.
that you should, be on.
Yes.
And so you must know what the non-negotiables are, as I say, what your deal breakers are. You must know what these are clearly before you start to go into a relationship with anyone. um, I'm not going to be moralistic about this whole talk. So this is not a question of whether a monogamous lifestyle is the way to go, and there's no place for a polygamous. No, whatever kind of relationship you decide to go into, as long as you're not hurting anyone in the process and you are happy, I am totally fine with it. But make sure that the person that you are getting to
It's not
accompany
a
you on that
prisoner.
journey, is aligned. Make sure that they align. My thing is, be open. And this is why Annie deciding to stick with Two-Face, even when he repeatedly showed that this was a lifestyle that he preferred, like being in multiple relationships with different women was the kind of lifestyle that he preferred, is an error of judgment on her part that young girls can learn from as well. And then for the men also, be very open. Both parties, be very open about who you are.
No, no
And
is sometimes a good word. Oftentimes,
right,
no is
right.
positive.
Right. Be your happiness as a person is important, whatever lifestyle that you choose. But just make sure that the person you are bringing with you on that journey is aligned with you in that kind of lifestyle. I know you had tried to link this topic to also
Yeah, okay,
Judy
before we get
Austin
there to
and
you,
you. Yeah.
before we get there, I
Yes.
was going to say that not only making an error of judgment on the part of the person who would make this type of choice, also there's something to be considered here. We have a lot of talk on parental wounds on children on this platform. So one of the big things is the way that a person has been brought up to view themselves, right? And the way that they've gone through life, growing up to a certain point, affects their mindset of the choices that they make, the
Mm.
the values they place on themselves, and all that.
Themselves.
And so, for some people, we need to look beyond the layers to see why has this person decided to make choices that are detrimental to them.
Detrimental. Hmm.
Sometimes this is coming from a mindset, and I heard that Annie didn't grow up with her dad, that those kids grew up with their mom. So I heard that the dad wasn't in their life, right? So that makes me think that could probably be one of the big reasons why somebody will be this way. Because what I know about people, especially ladies who don't grow up with their father figure, they become people who are doers. They are doers because they need to take care of themselves. And when you need to take care of yourself, even when you see a challenge, you are ready. You feel like, I'll deal with it. I will deal with it. And sometimes it could be something of, I'm going to prove how strong I am because you're so used to being a doer. So this is what happens sometimes with people who feel the absence of a parent's love, right? Whether mom or dad, anyhow. Sometimes they get into a situation where they can see that love is not there. And they are now put again in a place where I'm not going to lose this love. I'm not going to lose this one. I'm not going to lose this one. So that no matter what the person is doing, you try here, I'll try there, I'll try this way, I'll try that way. So we
I
also owe
see.
it to our children. We owe it to our children to think about the mindset that they are growing up with the things that they are experiencing in life, because it is out of that mindset that they'll be making choices in the future.
Very, very true, Uzo. Unresolved traumas can have ways of affecting, the kind of choices that we make, sometimes to our own detriment. So that's really a very, very good point that you have made. A very, very good point. Yes.
Right. And sometimes parents do these things. Some parents are abusive, and some parents are just oblivious, not aware of the damage that they are creating in the lives of their children. And in fact, this is why I say shut up about talking about forgiveness, because you think it is about what happened, but what happened. It didn't end there. It became the person's life. It became
Mm,
their whole life, because the person can be living it up until this age where it is
mm.
still having effect on what is happening to them, because they have made choices out of what happened at that time. That one thing
Yes.
you did.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
Yes. Yes.
yeah. And then,
Very, very, very important point. Very, very important point.
yeah.
Yes.
So,
Um, I was going to, link this whole conversation. I know we're talking about TuFace and Annie, but really it's beyond them. It's a relationship issue, right? It's not just
yeah.
both of them, but we're just taking. what has happened with them and trying to see the lessons that we can draw, for the man, for the woman, for all of us, so that we can, do better, in our own relationships, right? Um, People talk about Yul and talk about his decision to take a second wife. Yeah. Um, Personally, I have no issues with him taking a second wife. My exception is the partner that you chose, me. Was she on board? Did you tell her that this was how you were? This was your preference at the time that you were starting off this relationship? If you didn't, then it's absolutely unfair to drag another person into a union that you know you're not going to be faithful to, or it's not your preferred kind of relationship, which is why, again, from the start, we need to know who we are, what we want, and find people who are aligned.
People will not
I'm
be
not
open and authentic.
I'm
I've
not
told.
condemning I'm not condemning the polygamous lifestyle. There are women. Okay, I'll give you an example. My mom, I'm from a polygamous home. My dad is married to two wives. My polygamous home is like a, a nuclear family, because all of the children, from outsiders' point of view, we are like the children of one woman, and both mothers are like sisters. Our neighbors, at some point, one of the houses we live, did not know that the children were from two different mothers. They did not know. So much so that both women said, if they come back to this life, they will
You
both look
marry
for
your
my
dad.
dad and they will marry him again. Two different women said they would look for him and they will marry him again.
Mm-hmm.
People in monogamous homes could not even have peace, but
Mm-hmm.
us, polygamous family, we do not use the word step
Mm-hmm.
in my family to address, children from the other. My brother, up till date, I never witnessed my mom and my
Love
stepmother
that.
ever, ever. I never
Mm.
witnessed it. So I do not have a problem with the polygamous way of life. The problem is, does the person you're trying to bring along with you on this journey align with those, your way of life? Be open and honest about it from the start. And women, if a man has shown you who he is, that this is his preferred way of life, don't try to change him. Don't try to turn him to who he's not, because you are not being fair to him, and you're also setting up yourself for heartbreak in the long run, which I think is what happened in the case of Annie, because TuFace was never going to be hers. It was not, that was not his preferred lifestyle from the beginning.
Or
So
you can even
back
turn it
to,
around. You can even turn it
yeah,
around and say, how about you? You want this person to change and become the way you are. How about you? Would you like it if that person is insisting on you changing and becoming the way they are?
exactly. So people should look for their kinds and be with their
Do not be
kinds, and
unequally yoked. Do not be
don't
unequally
try to
yoked.
change. Yes, don't try to change people, which is one of the biggest mistakes that we have when we're going into committed relationships and marriages. So on Yo, I do not have any problem if he decides that, polygamy is what makes him happy and all of that. But be open and honest with your partner about who you are. I heard that she only heard that he was married on social media, like most of us. If that is the case, then that's a very, very unfair treatment to your partner. So the way of life, I don't have a problem with it. It's how you go about it, and not carrying along people who share the same ideologies and viewpoints to join you as co-travelers on this journey, and
Yeah.
misleading people. That's what I have. That's
Yeah.
what I have a
Yeah.
problem with, and not with the lifestyle
The
itself.
polygamy
People
itself.
should just be honest and open about these things and know who they are inviting on the journey with them, because it is when you are both aligned, when you're aligned across, like I pointed out all through this conversation, across several levels, not just at the physical level, that's the only time that you can have a happy and fulfilled union. You cannot, no matter how much you give, if you're with somebody who is not meant for you, no matter how much you give, they will never receive the love that you're trying to give. They would never do that.
Okay. So one other thing that I was going to say, no, not one other thing. Um, yeah. So about that. So it's possible. We've talked about when the foundations are wrong, right? Because what I did hear about Yul's marriage actually is that that marriage was a little bit of something that he was told that they needed to do, right? Because I don't know, I don't want to say those facts here. Do you
Mm,
understand? Right. But my understanding is that he just decided to go ahead and have that marriage with me. And now, many years later, this thing has still come out to the point where he's decided this is not what I really wanted to do. Therefore,
mm,
I'm not going to live the rest of my life doing this thing that other people wanted me to do, right?
mm,
Never they were going out, taking pictures, doing videos, and looking as if because people really try to abide by those things. But that's why you need to be honest,
mm,
as you said, right? But people will not allow them to be honest. Just like now, TuFace has decided to
mm.
leave the marriage, but people don't want him to be honest. People want him to stay there,
Exactly.
you know?
The mom
So
is
so
coming
now
out to
that's
say
exactly what's
this,
happening.
people are saying this.
Exactly. And the mom may be right in the sense that it's possible that she's used whatever to maybe she's jazzed him. It's possible because
I don't think
even me, I
so.
was shocked.
I know those things
No,
happen.
but
Come on.
let's
I mean, all the,
no, no, no,
I
no, no,
mean,
no, no,
not
no. I
taking
even want
anything
to
away from
say,
Two Face, right? Not taking anything
uh
away
huh,
from Two Face. Um, it's not
yeah,
like what could she possibly want other than love from this guy? She has money. If she was from a very
right,
poor home now, we'll say, oh, she has just him and all of that. This person is, from what
yeah,
I hear, is from a very wealthy family and is also holding our own, doing great.
her
So
own, yeah,
why would
yeah,
she want to, jazz, if not that there's something genuine there? I don't see all of this jazz talk as anything
well,
to pay serious attention to.
yeah.
Two faces, and I think more than anything, it's that control that we have. We want to control situations. This man has said this marriage is not working for him, but we want to box him into that. This is
I
how
think
we
I think
want to.
we are the ones making him go into this marriage immediately. We are the ones. Do you know why I say so?
Mm,
Because if I were him and I feel like I've lived all these years being forced to be in a marriage with this one person, which was not what I wanted, now
mm,
I am just going to tear the whole place down and I will do what I want to do.
mm-hmm.
You understand?
Yeah,
Because you feel
that
like
could just be
you've been
the
a
kind of
caged
reaction you're
bird.
showing.
Yes, you've been a caged bird. So, but that notwithstanding, even if she jazzed him, and there's going to be trouble later, even if that's were
I
the
don't believe
case.
all that jazz
No,
talk,
no, no.
Biko.
I just want to make one point now. Even if that
Mm.
were the case, the thing is, he walked into it. He walked into it by exposing himself to because it happens though. This jazz thing happens. I'll tell you one
Oh
story
yeah,
that I
I
know.
mean,
Yes.
I've heard that these things happen, so
No,
I'm
I know.
not.
I used to think it was they say
Oh no, I've heard
until
that it
I
happens.
saw it. Yeah, I saw it real. I saw it for real. So anyway, whatever it is, he exposed himself to this by all his different wakas, and then
Mm-hmm.
he jammed somebody that jazzed him if it happened, whatever. So whatever happens, he still needs this. He still needs it in his life so that he can eventually either go down and perish from it or finally open the door to where he's supposed to be heading. He still needs this.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing with Annie. They need this in their lives,
Yes.
so
Yes.
yeah.
I agree. I
And as
agree totally.
for do you want to say something else about that?
No, no. I'm totally. I think all that needs to be said about this topic. I think we have. I mean, to the best of my abilities, I think I have tried to air my views on
There's
the
one more
different
thing.
aspects. Yes. Tell
There's
me.
one more thing. So when I watch you and Judy, I have to say publicly that I enjoy that relationship.
I think they are
Hey,
very,
hey,
very.
I
I
enjoy
think they
that
are very
relationship.
happy. Whether or not,
That is
whether or
what
not
it
people agree with it, I see them and I am genuinely
happy
happy
for
for
them.
them. I
Yes,
mean, if
yes.
what they are presenting on social media
You read my
is
mind again.
if it is what it really is, then they hit gold with each
I
other.
was
They
gonna
hit
say
gold,
that. I
and
was
I am
gonna say
happy for
that.
them.
If what
I
we're
am really,
seeing,
really happy for them.
if
Yes.
what we're
Oh my God.
seeing,
It's such a
because
beautiful thing to watch.
that
Such a
is what
beautiful
love is
thing to
supposed to
watch.
be.
I
Yeah.
see people get angry and I'm like, you guys are bad belly people. What me I am seeing, I mean, the circumstances under which it happened, I may not have loved it. That the fact that
Exactly.
you know
Exactly.
May was not carried along and did not subscribe to a
Exactly.
polygamous marriage and all of that and all of that.
Yeah.
But just looking at both of them without any bias whatsoever, it is a beautiful thing to watch. And if it
It
is,
is.
really what it is behind closed doors, I think they hit gold.
That is
And I
bliss.
think they probably were meant to be together
And I
if that
don't
is.
blame
is-
them. I don't
Mm.
blame them for telling everybody to go suck on an orange because
Oh,
people know
I
how
like how
it
they
is
do not
rare.
care.
Huh?
I like how they do not care. I like
It
how they
is
do not
so rare,
care. Hmm.
because what you see, what it demonstrates, what we're seeing is I
Mm.
stand behind him no matter what is happening with him. I stand
Mm.
behind her no matter what. And that is what we're saying earlier. That this is
Mm.
what love is. You put that person's happiness in front of you. You are
In
looking at it
front of
and you
Yes.
are this is I want this person's happiness. What makes this
You
person
would
happy?
you are invested in it, you want them to be happy. And you can see that in how both
That
of
is,
them,
if you don't
you know.
have that, everything else you're doing is a farce.
Mm.
And if you want to continue to live your farce, do you understand? We already said how it happened and all that and all that. All that is a different story, right? But
A
what we're
different
seeing,
story.
that demonstration,
Yes.
that is what
Yes.
I don't know when it became the norm. Because people will say, no, relationships are difficult. Relationships, they're difficult in the sense that you have to make adjustments. You're
Mm.
a human being, a full-grown human being with different um, experiences in life and things that you wanted until you met somebody else. So you're going to, even if you were twins, you can't always want the same thing. So the difficulty
Mm.
is in making adjustments. It is not
Mm-hmm.
that you're going to find someone who is happy with everything that you're doing every time, 101%, right? But it is
Mm-hmm.
in, I found someone with whom even the things that I don't like about them, I am able to adjust without feeling like I'm losing my life, right?
Yes.
And I will give a
Yes.
kidney. I will give,
For them.
I will give an arm.
Yes.
I will give, because I want their
And
happiness.
you will do this naturally, not because you're forced. You would do it because if
Yeah.
it just flows, because you are with the person, you
I'm in love with
connect
their love. I am in love with their
level.
love.
You're connected. See that connection, that kind of pure joy that they radiate. It is very, very rare. It
It's
is
rare.
very, very rare, and it is beautiful to watch. Really beautiful to watch. I hope that what we see is
Is
what
what
it
it
really,
is.
really is. And I wish them well if that's what it is. I really, really
But it
wish
will be
them well because
madness.
yes,
It will be madness if it's not, because how can they make all
I'm
these
I'm more,
sacrifices and cause all this
I'm
uproar?
more inclined. I'm more inclined to believe that it is
But
what
it
it is because
is. Yes.
it looks so pure. I don't see that they are acting
It
or
looks like it looks
forcing.
childlike. And that is what love
Yeah,
is.
that's what it should be. That's what it
Yeah.
should be. It's the kind of things that a lot of people are looking for but haven't found. And so when many people look at them, sometimes
They won't
it's
believe
not
it.
because, yes, like, nah,
They're like,
because
no.
this is what you would have loved for yourself. But you know what? Because it's not happening for me, I'm going to hate it
No, their
for
minds
some other
cannot even conceive of the possibility that this
that it
can
could
be
happen. Yeah.
found, that this can be found
True.
on this
True.
earth.
You're right.
But
You're right.
you and I know that they're lying. They don't know what they're saying.
Exactly. Until you experience it, you would
Right.
know. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Okay. I think we have now covered it beautifully. I love it. Yeah. Thank you very much for your
My
insight.
pleasure. My pleasure, also. Nice to explore these topics with you.
Thank you so much. Okay. Thank you everyone for keeping us company. Thank you for your comments. And I trust that these conversations are going to be impactful positively in all our lives. And what we're doing here is just speaking the truth. If you go and look on the description of Diaspora Lounge, you will see that we're talking about the things that create mindsets of limiting beliefs in us, causing us to take decisions and actions that keep us in a place of want and misery and lack. And for anyone who wants the conscious empowerment, which is the tagline of Diaspora Lounge, that's what we're doing here, consciously empowering ourselves. You've got to get to a point where you say to yourself, enough of this, right? If you're tired of living according to what you're seeing around you, which is still putting you in a place of pain. And by the way, okay, what I like you to know is you are just misinterpreting your Bible because it's been misinterpreted to you. Okay, I will say, because honestly,
Talk for another day.
that's another day, yes, because that Bible contains a lot of truths and freedom, right? And I don't look at it as a religious book. I look at it as it's like a manual. When you have a fridge, you cannot operate your fridge properly without using the manual. That is what the Bible is. Unfortunately, those antichrists or whatever who they're preaching stuff to you that is keeping you imprisoned from that same Bible, because you are listening to them and not even bothering to go and get into communion with your creator to find out, what do I do in a situation like this? Do you understand, guys? So on that note, I will end it. Tony, what do you have to say before we close? Because
It's been interesting. Thank you very much for having me, and I look forward to exploring more of these topics with you. I love what you're doing on Diaspora Lounge. I love the conscious empowerment agenda behind it, and I wish that more people would see it and would join the conversations, because these are important conversations that need to be had. What lifts people up is looking at things for what they are, however unpopular. If we start to look at issues critically, without biases, and just try to look at them for what they are, that's how we grow. That's how we learn. We might find some things uncomfortable that will force us to change, but then again, that's how growth happens, when we find ourselves in an uncomfortable position that forces us to look at views we've always had, and then compare with new knowledge that we are getting. So it's a pleasure to do this, and I hope that we will share and more people will join in on the conversations.
thank you so much, Tony. I'm just trying to check the analytics right now. Okay. Right. Okay. Thank you so much. I really enjoy talking with you, and I enjoy the way that you put those ideas across. And gradually, I think I'm going to become quieter and quieter now, now
No,
that
just
you're here.
be your handsome self.
I just put the burden on you. All right. Okay. Thank you,
All right
everyone.
then.
Yeah.
Cheers, everyone. Cheers,
Enjoy
everyone.
the
Bye
beautiful
bye.
new week ahead. Yes. Okay. Bye
Yes, bye
bye.
bye.